What if special forces had to rescue hostages from a supertanker hijacked in the Strait of Hormuz? Picture this. It is just after midnight, and an emergency meeting is starting in the Pentagon. In the room are senior commanders, intelligence officers, and a few advisors running on coffee and adrenaline. A live feed glows on the wall. In the Strait of Hormuz, the narrowest and most dangerous oil choke point on Earth, a supertanker has gone silent. The vessel is a very large crude carrier, 330 meters long, loaded with 2 million barrels of crude. 24 crew aboard. An hour ago, an armed group boarded her from fast craft, killed the radio, and took the bridge. Now she sits dead in the water, drifting toward Iranian territorial limits, with the crew locked below and gunmen on deck. A commander speaks quietly. If she drifts another few miles, she's inside hostile waters, and this stops being a rescue and starts being an international incident with 24 lives in the middle of it. This is one of the hardest hostage scenarios in the world. The Strait of Hormuz is a knife's edge of geopolitics, ringed by hostile radar, watched by patrol boats, where a single misread move could spark a war between nations. The ship herself is a steel labyrinth, dark, full of blind corners, loaded with the most flammable cargo imaginable. One stray round into the wrong tank, and there is no rescue left to attempt. The decision is made. No airstrike, no naval barrage, only a small team and an almost impossible boarding. A SEAL team is selected. The leader is calm and precise, a man who has run missions once thought impossible. The breacher will cut through steel. The sniper will hold overwatch from a distance and read the deck. The communications specialist will own the night. There is a medic, because a ship full of hostages always means casualties. There are 16 of them. Step by step that number can fall. The preparation is brutal and fast because there is no time. Satellites and surveillance drones map the tanker from above. Analysts study the deck plan, the bridge, the engine room, the crew quarters, where the hostages are most likely held. They count the gunmen by heat signature, roughly a dozen. Some on the bridge, some patrolling the main deck, some near the accommodation block where the crew is locked away. And over all of it runs the clock. The tanker is drifting slowly toward the territorial line. Every hour that passes is a few hundred meters closer to the point where a rescue becomes an act of war. The team cannot wait for perfect intelligence. They cannot wait for daylight. They have to go with what they have, in the dark tonight. But the picture is full of unknowns. In a hostage situation, what the cameras show is never the whole truth. The thermal signatures cannot tell a guard from a hostage with certainty. The hijackers may have rigged the bridge, they may have a man watching the water, and the cargo turns every plan deadly, because the standard tools of a hard takedown, explosives and heavy fire are exactly the tools that could turn a rescue into a floating bomb. The team leader leans over the plan, the approach changes. They will not storm the deck in a loud, fast assault. They will come from below the line of sight, from the sea and the dark, and they will take the ship in silence before the hijackers ever know they are aboard. They will not fight their way in, they will already be inside before the fight begins. The insertion starts from a Navy vessel holding station outside the strait, far enough to avoid drawing attention. The team moves to fast assault craft and runs in low and dark across the black water. At the same time, a coordinated diversion pulls hostile attention elsewhere along the strait, a routine-looking patrol movement that gives the SEALs a narrow window. A few minutes, that is all they get. The boats slide up against the towering steel hull, dwarfed beneath it. The tanker rides so high and heavy that the deck is stories above the waterline. The team goes up the side using telescoping poles and hooks, climbing the sheer wall of the hull in the dark, one man at a time, in total silence, with armed men patrolling the deck just above their heads. The climb is the most exposed moment of the entire mission. There is no cover on the side of a hull. A man halfway up is a target with nowhere to go, hanging off steel in the dark, listening to footsteps on the deck above him. Halfway up, the lead climber freezes. A beam of light sweeps the rail directly over his head, a gunman idly scanning the water with a flashlight. The climber presses flat against the hull and stops breathing. The beam passes. The footsteps move on. He climbs again. The first man over the rail moves like a shadow. He clears the immediate area, signals down. One by one, the team comes over and spreads out across the deck, between the pipework and the cargo manifolds, using the forest of steel as cover. The first contact happens fast and quiet. A patrolling gunman near the bow turns at the wrong moment. The sniper, watching from the assault craft below, does not have the angle, but the lead element is already there. A short, silent struggle in the dark, and the gunman is down before he can key his radio. The team holds, listening, nothing. The takedown went unheard. They split. One element moves toward the bridge, the brain of the ship, where the hijackers control everything. The other moves toward the accommodation block, toward the hostages. Both must happen at the same instant, because the moment one hijacker realizes the ship is being taken, the first thing he does is reach for the crew. The communications specialist confirms the layout one last time. The hostages are in the mess hall, deck 3 of the accommodation block, with at least 2 guards on the door. The team leader counts it down on the radio. On his word, both elements move. At the bridge, the breach is silent and total. The men controlling the ship are taken before they understand what is happening, before a single warning can go out. The bridge is secured, the ship's controls are back in friendly hands. At the accommodation block, the 2 door guards are the danger because they are the ones closest to the hostages. The element flows up the interior stairwell, fast and quiet, and hits the mess hall door in the same second the bridge falls. Flashbangs first into the corridor, not the room full of crew. The 2 guards are neutralized in the noise and the dark before they can turn their weapons on the people they were guarding. Inside, 24 exhausted, terrified crew members look up at men in black who appear out of the chaos and say, in the calm, flat voice of people who do this for a living, that they are going home. But it is never over until everyone is off. As the team consolidates and starts moving the crew toward the extraction point, 2 remaining gunmen on the far deck realize the ship is lost and open fire. A short, sharp firefight erupts across the cargo deck, the most dangerous place on the ship to be trading rounds. One round sparks off a steel manifold a meter from a fuel line, and for one frozen second, every man on that deck understands exactly how thin the line is between rescue and catastrophe. The team ends it fast and disciplined, picking targets, keeping every shot away from the manifolds and the tanks. 2 SEALs are hit, both are still standing, both keep working. The crew is moved off the tanker in waves, lowered to the assault craft, and rushed clear of the hull. The ship's engines are brought back under control, and she is turned away from the territorial line she was drifting toward. 24 hostages, all alive, not one lost. In the Pentagon, the room watches the last marker pull clear on the screen, and no one says a word, because the plan worked exactly as intended. They never bombed the ship, they never had to. 2 million barrels of crude, 24 lives, and a straight one wrong move from war, and the whole thing was decided in silence, in the dark, by 16 men who were already aboard before the enemy ever knew they had company. The hardest part was never the gunmen. It was taking a floating bomb full of innocent people without lighting the fuse. Of course, friends, this video is completely fictional and made for entertainment. It is a what-if scenario, not a real military analysis or an operational suggestion. So do you think a team like this could really pull off a rescue like this? Would you have boarded in silence or gone in loud and fast? Write your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.